The foreclosure crisis and the housing crisis is a root cause of a lot of these other issues that we're talking about today, is because fundamentally 40% of middle class wealth was extracted in a very short amount of time.
Ms. Darnell, we've worked on a number of cases where homeowners, we had a forum in fact where a homeowner had committed suicide, lost her life during foreclosure, and you've been sensitized to this matter by virtue of another woman named Linda James, I believe it is. Could you tell us about that?
I think it was about 3 years ago I met Linda, and she was, she was going through foreclosure. She had tried to get a modification. She was a teacher that lost her job, and since then she was rehired. She was trying to get a modification. She was denied several times by the bank, went through about a year-long process, and within that time she was diagnosed with cancer. So while she's trying to negotiate on her home, she was undergoing cancer treatment. As it were, she ended up not getting the modification, and the bank proceeded with foreclosure, and she was facing a sale. The law firm that I was with at the time requested that they stall the sale, or excuse me, not the sale, but the eviction, until she got out of the hospital, because she was undergoing stage 4 cancer treatment in Providence. And actually the bank responded and said that they would in fact stall the eviction. I got a phone call at 8:30 in the morning on a Monday morning that the sheriff had come and tossed all of her belongings out on the front lawn, which incidentally broke several of her prized possessions. This was a lifetime of belongings out on her front lawn. And then, unfortunately a month later Linda passed away. So I just think it's time for a little bit of compassion. I understand business, I understand the need to make money, but on the other hand, I don't think that we can continue putting profits over people. One of the reasons I decided to run is because I wanted to dispel this whole idea of the deadbeat homeowner. I'm not going to say that there aren't any, but I haven't run across them. Generally speaking, these people that signed on the dotted line for these contracts, at the time they had, adequate income. Most often they had a decent job, and they were looking towards their property would increase in value. Their salaries would increase. They had the expectation that if things ever got tight, that that they'd be making more money, or their situation was going to improve versus decline. At the very worst, they had the fallback position of, well, we can access our equity or we can sell our properties. Well, what's happened because of the economic situation is those options are no longer available to them. They have a home now that is $150,000, $200,000 underwater. They've lost their job. They have, they really don't have any options. They can't sell their home. They will they'll incur significant losses there, and they can't access any equity because they don't have any. So they go to their bank. That's their first point of contact. Historically, you could trust your bank, and their bank basically tells them, well, yeah, there is help under this federal program called HAMP. You just need to be 3 months into default to qualify. So they go ahead and they attempt qualification. They send their what's called a request for modification application with sometimes 2 inches of paperwork, significantly more than was required when they originated the loan.
But first, they subject themselves to the possibility of foreclosure by skipping the 3 payments in order to qualify.
Well, absolutely, and that's what a lot of the homeowners don't recognize.
Now, Ms. Darnell, here in Washington, I've seen a number of lawsuits recently brought by the Attorney General's office in the way of litigation to help homeowners. You have some more to talk about regarding that, don't you?
Yes, I have a couple of ideas relative to some possible solutions. One is that we could potentially follow the example of Nevada and make it a felony to proceed with an illegal foreclosure. We already have laws that are meant to protect the homeowners and protect the integrity of the system. I think we just need equitable application of those laws. I think that if we made it a felony to proceed with an illegal foreclosure, the knee-jerk response is, oh my gosh, that's going to further complicate the situation. But actually what I think it's going to do is it's going to restore some integrity integrity to our system. It's also going to drive all parties, homeowners and banks, to the mediation table, which actually was the intent of the Washington State Foreclosure Fairness Act mediation program to begin with.
Michelle Darnell, real solutions for real problems.